I'm using this old trailer as a hunting cabin. This property borders a wildlife area that has pretty good hunting, and there's some fishing in the area. So I stay in the trailer when I come up here to do some hunting and fishing. I spent the last couple of years using this trailer to do a little experimentation with some energy efficiency ideas I had. I've done a lot of things to make this trailer very efficient at use of both electric power and propane. I don't use any ethanol gas anymore. Solar panels provide me with plenty of power to live comfortably. The only time I use my generator now is if I'm using the air conditioner during the summer months. Propane's one of the cleanest burning fuels there is, and I use it very sparingly. I maintain over 100 oak trees on the property, so I actually have a negative carbon footprint. I have two polycrystalline solar panels. They produce about 40 volts at 7.5 amps, and my MPPT charge controller will take that 40 volts at 7.5 amps and convert it into 14 volts at around 14 amps. Controller, the MPPT charge controller. This has an internal monitor. I can monitor everything in the system inside the trailer. Down here I got my SunForce 1000 watt pure sine wave inverter with remote. I can turn it on and off inside the trailer. There's my battery charger there. It charges the AMG batteries. And I've got a fan here connected to an air conditioning switch that goes on at 80 degrees to keep the instrumentation cooled off, especially during the summer months. I've got number 2 gauge wire going up here from the inverter. That should handle the 85 amps max that the inverter will put out. And I've got two 100 amp hour AMG batteries back here. Now my generator is in here for backup power. I've got a 2000 watt Honda EU 2000i. It's converted to propane by Genenkex. The generator is hooked up to this 40-pound propane tank. So now instead of having to change gas every 4 hours, I can run the generator for over 40 hours without changing a cylinder out. I had a lot of problems with ethanol gasoline because it absorbs water 50 times more than the old gas did with the MBTE oxidizers in it. Ethanol is corrosive and it ruins generators. And gas is dangerous to store, and it's stinky, smelly stuff, and I just got sick of dealing with it, so I got rid of my gas generators. Two things that'll get old real fast off-grid is battery acid and ethanol gas. I'm using a deep well hand pump here to pump water into the trailer. The well shaft is actually 350 feet, but I put the wellhead down about 40 feet because my water table is around 25. I had to use a deep well hand pump because the depth was over 25 feet. Shallow well hand pumps will not work below 25 feet because of air pressure problems. This is my on-demand water heater over here. This is the Triton water heater. These sell for about $125, 28 bucks in that range on Amazon. I went with this because it cost about $600 to get a replacement over here for my other water heater. A couple $100 for installations. It'd be about $800 to get this one. I didn't want to spend that much money on this old trailer, so I'm just using one of these. The tank's been on here for a year. Still got plenty of propane in it, so I mean, very efficient way to heat water. This is my Berkey filter. I think these are very overpriced and not very good design, but they do work well. I can process over 3,000 gallons of water in it, and they'll filter out bacteria and algae and sediment. And I mainly need it for sediment because my water quality is pretty good coming from the well. They have a couple of carbon filters here. Supposedly you can clean these, but you got to be very careful. You put too much pressure on them and they'll blow apart. And they cost over $100 for the two. This is my monitor for the solar panels. Right now, you should be able to see this, I guess. They're putting out 13.8 volts at 9.8 amps. Not sure you can see that or not. And all you got to do to monitor your battery is to make sure it's above 12 volts. So this should always be above 12 volts. You got to cut back on your battery use if it gets near 12 volts. A lot of people are doing specific gravity tests and a lot of other nonsense, but you don't want to do that, especially with AGM batteries. You can't. Over here I got my cell phone amplifier. It's a Wilson cell phone amplifier. Runs off at 12 volts. And I have my cell phone here, and it's hooked up to the charger down here. Now, I could barely get reception outside, and I could never get it inside without this amplifier. So these Wilson amplifiers do work, and they work pretty well. The first thing I did to the trailer was get rid of the heater it had in it. The heaters in your trailer are only about 38% efficient. This is a Wave 6 heater. It is 99.998% efficient. Very clean burning. Very efficient. I think it's one of the most efficient heaters in the world, and it uses a catalyst. It's a catalytic heater. Easy install. I just used a pipe for the gas, the propane, from my old heater. Connected it here, threw the old heater away. Well, it doesn't use any electricity. That was another big thing about the heaters. The fan had a large fan in the heater, and it used about 4.5 amps. This doesn't take any electricity. So I'm saving a 4.5 amp drain off my battery whenever the heater's on. So this thing's about, well, once it warms up, I can turn the heat down to its lowest setting. So I'm probably using 1/4 of the propane that the other heater would have used. This is a master on-off switch for the 12 volts coming from the battery to the trailer. I want to shut down power completely to the trailer at night when I'm asleep or when I'm away from the trailer for any length of time. Even if you shut off all the devices in the trailers, there's always a little current being used. It's almost an amp. This little switch down here enables me to switch between the generator and the inverter. One thing that's inconvenient, about switching from your inverter to your generator, you've got to unplug one and plug it into the other. I don't want to go outside, especially on a rainy day or something. When I turn off the generator and turn on the inverter, I can just do it with this switch. Unfortunately, my generator isn't a remote start. My Harrier 5200 BTU air conditioner, it's adequate to cool the trailer down. I can actually run this off a 1,000-watt generator. In fact, I did run it off a 1,000-watt generator for the first couple of years I had it. Still working great. 8 years old, I think, somewhere around 8, maybe 10 even. I got it on the slide rails down here so that I can slide it out the window during the summer months when I need it. The other air conditioner up here, this works, but it takes a 3,000-watt generator, and yeah, those are gas hogs. Yeah, I didn't want to use it, so the little 5200 BTU works just fine. Saves me a lot of propane actually, because it runs out the propane generator. I replaced all 16 light bulbs in the trailer, the 12-volt light bulbs, with these LED light bulbs. They use less than 1/4 of the power of the original light bulbs. This is my 9-inch digital TV I have over here near the bed. This only pulls about 1/2 amp at the most off the batteries, so I can watch this TV as much as I want. This is my 28-inch TV set. This runs off the inverter, and it pulls about 4.8 amps off of it. During the winter months I have to kind of restrict watching it because it'll lower the battery. So I'll watch my 12-volt TV. I get to over 30 channels, I think 38 altogether. Kind of varies on the weather. all digital quality HD, all free. And I can play Netflix movies off of my cell phone on it. This is my digital antenna. You can barely see it here. It's pulling in about 30 channels here, and I'm about 60 miles from the nearest TV station, so these really work great. This is where my telephone antenna wound up. This is the only place I could get placed for the best reception. This is an ARB 12-volt refrigerator freezer. It'll also switch over to AC power automatically if you plug it into the generator or the inverter. This is rated at using only 1.3 amps off the 12-volt supply at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's very efficient use of power, and I can run this off the solar panels easily. Those are some of the major changes I did to the trailer. There's also a lot of techniques I use to save energy, but I'm sure everybody's going to be falling asleep here if this thing runs much over 10 minutes. So thanks for watching.